All right, we are live. Welcome to the Flip Connect Media Cast, episode 16. I'm super excited to bring Lawrence Malloy on today. Lawrence is crushing the game out in Tampa, Florida. He's marked and coined the term the acquisition artist. Lauren is an investor, teacher, and coach, founder of Ethical Home Buyers, a real estate investment firm out of Florida. He's also the host of the Go RIA, where they host a monthly meetup to help investors scale their real estate business in the Tampa area. Today, we'll be talking about the art of negotiating, how to get started in real estate investing with a limited budget, and this interview should add extreme value to beginners and advanced investors along. Without further introduction, Lawrence, welcome on board, bro.
Hey, what's going on, Ben?
Not much, bro. Excited.
I appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely. So we were talking shop a little bit. We actually got linked up at the Scale and Escape Summit this past month in San Diego, and our flight ends up getting delayed. So we're talking shop in the airport for what, like 3 hours waiting to get back home?
Yeah, at least 3 hours, correct.
Yeah.
And you love talking shop.
I tried to get this guy to jump on and do a live podcast interview sitting in the airport.
That is true, but unfortunately, my marketing company that handles a lot of my marketing kept me out the night before, and I didn't have a lot of sleep, so I wasn't ready to be on camera. But nonetheless, a couple months later, we end up linking up again, so I appreciate you reaching out to me and giving me the opportunity.
Absolutely, man. It's a privilege. It really is. So tell us a little bit about what you have going on in your life, in your business right now. I know you got a lot of moving parts between the investing business. You got your training courses that you're putting together, your meetups. Like what do you have going on?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. We have a lot going on right now, some really, really cool things. So we'll just start off with, I own a company called Ethical Home Buyers, and we buy and sell real estate. And we buy it in a multitude number of ways. So we do a couple of things. So we do wholesaling, we do rehab, we do wholesaling, we have some rentals. We also will do some creative seller finance stuff. So we're doing quite a bit of things. I'd say right now we probably have 20 different projects that we're working on that are in some phase or another, like right as we speak, right this second, that we're either purchasing, they're within our process, or we're getting ready to unload them. So that's the core of what I do, is buying and selling, which is awesome because not only do I talk the talk, but I also walk the walk. I'm an operator, and that's huge in this business, having someone that's actually, producing results. In addition to my company, Ethical Home Buyers, I also own a RIA organization called Go RIA. I'm based out of Tampa, but I run the Greater Orlando Real Estate Investors Association. So that's where we're a networking group that's based in real estate education, and that's where investors, beginning, intermediate, and advanced investors can come and get real estate education. We have national speakers that fly in from all over the country to guest present. Sometimes I guest present. So it's a great opportunity for newer investors to come in and get some really, really good education and, start learning how to get into the game. So I have that company. We also have, I have a real estate license. So within my office, I have a couple of agents that work underneath me, and they're just on my real estate team. So people that, come at us that are looking to sell their property, something that we may not be able to buy, I can push it over to my conventional real estate arm. And then my new baby that I'm opening up is Investor Kingdom. And Investor Kingdom, that one's one of my favorite babies because although I buy and sell real estate, my true passion is teaching, coaching, and mentoring people. So Investor Kingdom is going to be my real estate education arm. And right now I have a Facebook group that I just started. It's Investor Kingdom Facebook group, or The Investor Kingdom. You can look it up right up on Facebook.
Awesome.
And that one is, recently I wrote a book, and the book is called The Art of the Acquisition. And it's a 40,000 word book on just kind of my background story, how I came up, real estate investing, how you can get started, how you can get moving, some exit strategies, how to manage some contractors. There's a lot of great information in there regarding real estate investing and negotiations and acquisitions. So I have a book. I just went in the studio and created some courses. So I have the Prosperity and Freedom real estate investing courses that I created. So teaching people how to buy and sell real estate. And then also I do private coaching, so mentorship, so one-on-one mentorship if people are interested in going that route. And that's probably where people get the very most growth then, is out of mentorship. It's like having a personal trainer when you go to the gym. They not only tell you what to do, show you how to do it, they give you the game plan, they give you insights, and then on top of that, you have accountability. So it's a great opportunity if someone wants to shorten their learning curve and get dialed in really, really quick. People will reach out to me to do coaching.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's so many moving parts, and as you start to grow and scale in this journey called life, right? As you build your team, as you're building and scaling your business, you realize the importance of building a strong foundation. And once you have the foundation, you have different team members who can manage the everyday tasks, right? What does your team look like at the moment, to keep everything moving in sync?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So there's me at the head, and then I have my executive assistant, which is Michelle. She's amazing. She's my go-to person. She makes a lot of stuff happen, which if you're just starting off in the business and it's just you, your first hire may be an assistant, because they will pick up and they'll end up doing a lot of things for you. So we have Michelle. We also have, I have two acquisitions guys, Travis and Rick, and they do great. So they're the ones that are answering the phone calls. They're the ones taking the inbound phone calls from potential sellers and locking up deals. We also have a dispositions guy, which is the person that once Rick and Travis lock up the deals, the disposition guy is the one that's disposing of them or selling them off to other wholesalers or just marketing them on the MLS. If we're wholesaling them, they're selling them to other investors, and if we're rehabbing them, selling them conventionally, then he's selling them to the retail buyers. So we have Fletch. We also have a couple of agents that are in the office as well. We recently had Laura, and we have August, which are on the agent side, just conventional real estate agents that handle the if buyers are calling in on any of our properties that are on the retail market, they handle all buyers, and typically they handle any listing leads. So any properties that we're not going to currently buy through our investment firm, we can pass that lead on to our conventional real estate arm. And then we also have Victor. Victor's my project manager. So this was something that was a huge, huge benefit for me that I learned. It took me years to learn this, but I have someone in-house that has a contractor's license that oversees all of my rehab. So he only works for me. He's on payroll, but he can manage 5 to 10 projects and basically babysits the contractors to make sure that the projects are moving along. And we call him a fixer, because anytime there's anything that comes up, he can go over there, take a look at it, and he can make sure that those projects are moving along properly. Because if you don't have someone like that, what happens is you as the owner of the company are going to get calls all day long from contractors, subcontractors. Hey, what about this? What do I do here? I need you to make this decision. So your day's constantly being stopped. So we have Victor in-house as well. I also have a bookkeeper that's here as well that comes in once a week to handle the books. So we have a pretty full operation up and running.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So much value in that, man. We're running into that small little hurdle right now with the small projects we have going on. Like, I got these contractors blowing me up, for the simplest little questions. It's like, man, I need to figure out how I can put someone in that seat, to handle that area. So yeah, it's so important, bro.
It's important because, I mean, as you're coming in this business and you're trying to buy properties, you're doing acquisitions. You're also trying to sell off the properties. You're also trying to answer all the contractors' questions. And that's if they can call you and they have a question that you can talk to over the phone. Sometimes you may have to drive to the project Matter of fact, last night I had one of my coaching students. He had to get off of our coaching call because he had an emergency at the property where something happened to the AC system, and the AC company that was going to come out there, they wouldn't go into the property without someone actually being there. So he had to drive over there and meet them because he had an inspection this morning. So
Wow.
if that was me, there's no way that I'd be able to run all of the different businesses and do the things that I do if I had to do things like that. So having key people is extremely. But the thing about it is, Ben, is you have to build up to it. So I've been in the business for 16 years. So I've done all of these different things before, and I've been able to build and save. So I am able to person in that position, but become all of that stuff. So, and I think it's good to do that so that you can learn and understand what's going on.
That's huge. I'm big on transparency in the industry, you know, because I feel like a lot of people like to put up their big shiny checks and brag on, you know, all the accomplishments, but it's also necessary to touch on the failures as well, right? Because the failures help you grow. They transform you into something much greater, right? So let's talk about
when you fail forward.
Yeah, let's talk about when you fail forward. It's huge. It's huge. Let's talk about when you had to face the correction in 2008, 2009, what that looked like in your life and the lessons that you pulled out of it.
Let's not talk about that.
No, we can stay away from it.
It's still, no, I'm joking. I'm just laughing because it's so fun. No, that was actually a really in my life. So I'll tell you a great story. So, and I write about this in my book, all about talking. You either win or you learn. So that's a really, really important thing to understand. You never fail. You win or you learn. So that was the very best. And so before, when I was younger, I mean, you know, you just run blind by the seat of your pants, you know. That when I start investing, I take very calculated now my risk that I'm taking at this point in time. Very important. I'll tell you a story. During that time, I actually had a couple properties that I was buying in business. At the time, he had to was kind of because they had them, and then they were taking that money that they're refinancing, and then they could get a higher rate on the mortgage. Hey, you know, we'll just take this invested in my company. He said, "Hey, you're not paying 1% interest." So I said, okay, yeah, great. That sounded like a great opportunity. So I borrowed it. The market crashed. So now, as I went down pro, like no money, and no one was selling a couple properties on the one thing is my brother's money was attached to one of those properties. So people that had loaned other people money, they literally were not getting any of their that they loaned it to are like, sorry, the market crashed, you're not getting anything back. Well, this being my brother and me being who I am, and then I made a commitment, what I did, I literally gave him $10,000. I paid him at least the interest that I promised him. And I said, listen, like it's going to be hard, but I'm going to make the rest of that money from market. Making money heading after you going to get me my money back. He didn't say that, but I know him, you know. And the crazy thing is I busted my ass for like 2 years. Like I literally worked like 2 years, busted my butt. And I did conventional real estate transactions. I did like short sale flips where I was just making $2,000. like for a flip or whatever. And it literally, with all of just like living $1,000 when the market was at the worst it could be and people were jumping out every which way. So then I came to a dilemma, Ben. The dilemma was, hey, do I pay my brother back this $50,000 or do I just keep on trying to reinvest it and build up? Because the hardest thing you can do is start from zero and build it back up again, start from zero with nothing and build back up.
Absolutely.
But I felt a conviction in my heart to give him that money back. And I literally called him up one day and I was like, hey, can I meet with you and Jennifer, which is his wife? And they said, yeah, sure. So I went over and think about this, Ben, 2 years. So Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of these holidays and occasions, I have to go sit in front of my brother and his wife and look them in the face, knowing that I still owe them a lot of money. It's been a year, it's been a year and a half, and I still haven't been able to pay them. Fortunately enough, they were just so gracious and they never made me feel bad or out of place or anything like that, where they just kind of was like, okay, like he said he's going to do this, and they just had, a blind faith that I'll do it. So I called them up and went over to their house, and they literally thought I was going to sit them down and tell them, hey, I'm not going to give you your money back. And but what happened is I actually cut a check for $50,000. I brought it over to them, and I just literally sat them down and I pulled it out, and my brother's wife started crying.
Wow.
And she's like, oh my goodness, I thought we would never see this money again, and that our own house would be foreclosed on, and and they have kids and everything else. So when I paid them back, I mean, it made me go all the way back down to like almost $0. I probably had like a couple $1,000s in my account, 50,000 to just give them the whole thing when I really didn't have much more than that. But what that did do is that gave me faith that if I did this in this market, I knew that I can continue doing it as the market started getting better and make all my money back and make it all back. So they say you're not a true hustler unless you can lose it all and build it all back. So that's exactly what I did. I just went to town. I had a clear conscience, and then I started crushing it.
That's huge. So many key lessons that you can pull out in those seasons. I mean, the essence of life is growth, and you can't always control your circumstances, but you can control how you respond, how you react, right? So you're completely right. Instead of reacting and saying, why me, and playing the victim, you take ownership for your own actions, your own mistakes, and you pull out the lesson out of that, right? That's what life is all about.
Through adversity builds character.
Absolutely. So let's talk about how you were coined with the name The Acquisition Artist. You got this trademarked, right?
Yeah, trademarked. So The Acquisition Artist, one of my favorite things, one of the biggest things you can do in this business is the acquisition side. So a lot of real estate investing, a lot of people think they're in the real estate business, but they're literally in marketing and acquisitions. And my favorite thing to do was the acquisitions portion of it, which was, talk to the homeowners. And, over the years, I've been in the business, as I mentioned before, 16 years. So I spoke to thousands and thousands and thousands of people, either on the phone or in person. I personally bought and sold over 500 properties. So that means I would have had to talk to thousands of people in order to just buy those 500. And when I say thousands, probably in person to where I ended up buying 500. So on the phone, it's like 10,000. Like, it's a crazy number. So, but the one thing is I love just talking to them, understanding what their situation is and seeing how I can best help them, how I can create a win-win rapport with people. So I coined The Acquisition Artist because it's not easy to sit in front of a 70-year-old person that's been living in their house for 50 years and get them to sell you their house at a deep discount. Like, there's a lot of emotion attached to that. There's a lot of steps that you have to really understand the process in order to make that transaction happen. And that's something I've done a few times. I bought a home from someone that's been living in the property for 54 years and someone that's been living like a couple of months under 50 years. So that person obviously is in their 70s and 80s. and we've done a really, really nice transaction as long as you know what you're doing. But to sum up your question, yeah, the acquisition is when you're putting a deal like these together and the artistry comes in where it's not necessarily like, I'll buy your house for cash. What I love to do is understand what someone's situation is and see how I can best put a deal together. So I may make someone 3 different offers: a cash offer, a seller finance, make it over subject to the existing mortgage. So we do a couple of different things. I would actually consider myself more of like a transaction engineer, because depending on what the information then I could make a couple different offers. So history comes in is, man, when you can put a transaction together where most people are able to find a way, or you're able to talk to a difficult client that is in a place of hardship, of stress, and you're able to talk to them and have them on your side at the end of it and thank you and write you a testimonial, that is a beautiful thing. That's what I love doing.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. When you're able to focus on people over profits, right? Focus on building the relationship and truly coming from a place of service. Because if you're focusing on that sale, you're going to miss your mark every single time.
To be honest with you, I never focus on profit. This is the thing, like, as I never focus on profit. As long as the numbers ultimately work, profit is never my focus. Like, I make the numbers work, but my number one focus is creating a win-win situation, is understanding what a person's needs are and then finding a solution for their needs. See, as doing acquisitions, you're really in sales, because although we're buying a house, you're selling yourself to the client in order to get them to use your company, as opposed to using, 10 other companies that are out there going, hey, we buy homes, So at that point, once you focus on solving a problem and not making a sale, you're focused on the problem and not just selling something, then your whole business will shift at that point. We're in the business of solving a problem. Someone wants to sell it, they need to sell it quickly. How can we solve that? And once first, everything else.
That's huge. That's huge. So in your opinion, what's the key to success in this business for a new investor?
The key to success is you need to educate yourself. You need to be a student of the game. Too many people want fast success, and they are not taking to understand what the game really is. That's like saying, you want to become a doctor without going to medical school. Like, you need to understand what the hell you're doing, because you could get into this business and you can really hurt yourself. You can, make a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 mistake like nothing. And, everyone, especially right now, it's really freaking dangerous because the market's hot right now, right, Ben? The market's hot.
It's booming. It's booming. It's
in this market, it can make anybody look like a superstar right now. So the biggest issue is, I have one of my coaching students, hot shot, young 25-year-old, tell me he's going to do this and that. I'm like, whoa, slow your roll. Like, I've been there. I understand where you're coming from. However, listen, you need to take time and understand. Everyone's watching TV shows. Oh, I watched a TV show. Someone bought the property for $200. They sold it for $250. They made all this money. And what they don't realize is those TV shows give you just enough information to make yourself dangerous to yourself. So what I always say 100% is, you need to slow down, be a student of the game, invest in mentors, invest in coaches, because that's what's going to give you insight on how to actually do this business and help you not make the mistakes. Everybody that is doing stuff that's great has some type of mentor, coach, educators that are helping them out. So that's the one thing I would say is, if you want to be successful in this business, slow down, make sure you get the proper training, and then start making moves.
That's huge. I mean, you even look at
it's
people like Tony Robbins, the best of the best when it comes to peak performance, right? Tony's got like 7 coaches for all these different areas of his life. You got your strength training coach, your health coach, your business coach, your life advice coach. Like, you need to surround yourself and build a power team in your circle so that you can synergize with other people who understand different angles, and might actually be able to see through your blind spots. It's huge.
Yeah, one of the as you know, which is where we met at, one of my mentors, Kent Clothier, he talked about time as well. So it's, if you want to get to a goal where you're doing very, very well, let's just say it's, you want to pull 6 figures a year, if you get a mentor or coach, you may, pay, a couple $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 to get a mentor or coach or whatever it is. But then that mentor or coach is going to teach you how to make $500,000. They're going to teach you how to make $1 million. And the most important thing, it's going to comprehend all of your mistakes. So it's a huge thing that he talks about, compressing time. And if you're newer in this business, like right now, and the market's hot, do you want to take 2, 3, 4 years to figure this crap out with a ton of mistakes? Or do you want to compress your time and, try to get a lot figured out in maybe a 6-month span so you can actually start making money?
That's huge. Time is your most valuable resource when it comes down to it. Guaranteed, if you
100%,
met a multi-billionaire on his deathbed and you asked him if he could have one thing, one wish, he'd ask for more time, right? Time is your most valuable currency. Yeah. I don't care how you look at it. So the quicker that you can compress time and knowledge, the faster you're going to reach results, right? It is a sacrifice, but start now, right?
It isn't a sacrifice. So I'd have to say it's not a sacrifice. You're actually investing in yourself. That's the biggest thing that most people don't understand. When I talk to coaching students, I'm like, this isn't about me. Like, shit, I made 7 figures last year. Like, it's not about me. It's about you and you investing in yourself. And this is a way for me to give back, because this is how I learned through all my mentors. In my book, I literally talk about, there's a whole chapter on me just talking about my mentors and all the different lessons that I learned along the ways, and me literally saying, hey, I could never do this all by myself. Like, thankfully, I was able to have this mentor at this place in my life and this mentor at this place in my life. And that's how I got to where I was at, not by like me trying to figure it out myself. And speaking of Tony Robbins, I actually, years ago, I had a life coach through his organization for a year. And I actually talk about that gentleman in my book, a gentleman by the name of Ian Clayton that I spent the year with. And we had a weekly coaching call, and it afforded me a lot of accountability at the time. So mentors, coaching, I 100% invest in yourself. It's not about us. Like, most of these mentors, the crazy shit is most of the mentor and coaches out here, Ben, like, they don't need your money. They're making money. They've done it. Like, it's a way for them to give back, and it's a way for them to, help out newer investors and things like that. And of course, we have to be compensated for a time. But the main thing is people are literally investing in themselves.
It's huge. It's huge. Yep. Doesn't matter if you feel like you're ready. Start now. Start right where you're at. Right. You'll thank yourself later.
100%. Like, people don't give themselves enough credit for what they can achieve. And if you started now, what you could achieve in a 1 month span, a 3 month span, and then a year span, what you could achieve. So much happens in a year, and you'll be so much further along.
Absolutely.
And by the way, my coaching students are crushing it right now. They are with this or whatever, they're already getting some moves, some potential sellers. So they are doing really, really well. Shout out to my coaching students.
Yeah, you want to find some quality as far as mentoring and coaching, talk to their students. They'll tell you everything you need to know, right? That's where the success is.
Yep.
So we're running a little bit short on time. We'll dive into one more question on acquisitions. Let's talk about showing properties that might be occupied and negotiating through tough situations. How do you handle that?
Negotiating properties that are being occupied.
Yeah,
so like
say
if
you
you're
got a contract, you got to
property,
move it.
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, you want to just be very upfront with the potential seller or whatever, and you just tell them, you have your inspection period, and the way we have it set up is once it comes into our company and we get it under contract, then we move it over to our transaction coordinator, which is Michelle. And Michelle contacts them immediately, like literally right after we get under contract. She calls, she introduces herself, and she's the one that's now building rapport with that client. And she tells them on that phone call, hey, in about a week to 10 days, our guy Ryan Fletcher, he will be in touch with you to go ahead and set up a time where we'll do our inspections, and we'll have our contractors and some of our business partners come in and take a look at the property. So she basically sets the expectation, and then we try to figure out a date that would work for them that's pushed out within 7 to 10 days. And that's the amount of time that we have to try to find our potential buyer. Yep. So when that day comes up, it's not like they're like, oh yeah, why are you guys here? Like, it's already planned ahead. We set that initial expectation from the very beginning. And now, 7 days, we're following up, and we're just making sure when that day, right before the day is for our walkthrough, we call it a walkthrough, we'll just follow up the day before. Hey, just want to make sure we're going to be there tomorrow at such and such time. We get the thumbs up, and everyone's meeting over there. So we just manage the homeowner's expectations. We let them know from the very beginning. And even furthermore than that, I'll tell you this then. So my acquisitions guy, when he locked up the contract, once they signed the document, he tells them, great, okay, next steps from here is we're going to introduce you to Michelle, and then Michelle will be giving you a call within the next 24 hours. And then also we'll be introducing you to Ryan, which is our dispo guy. Ryan will be meeting some of our contractors, inspectors, and some of our business partners out here in about 7 to 10 days. So he basically sets the expectation. Michelle, the next day when she calls, will reiterate that. So they've already heard it twice now. And then they're basically waiting for the day to come so that we can do our walkthrough with our potential buyers. And we don't say potential buyers, we just say business partners.
Yep. That's it. It's all about how you're teeing up your team, right? Essentially, you're handing off the baton, right? You're setting it up, you're performing.
Yeah, you're setting,
doing your job.
You want to make sure that.
Yep. That's huge. I love it.
Sorry about that. Ben, I apologize. There's a little bit of a delay on this. There's a little bit of a delay on our display, so that's why it seems like I'm interrupting you, but I'm really not. It's just a little bit of a delay from when you're hearing me as opposed to when I'm chatting.
I'm catching it too. I think it's one of our network connections. It was bogging down a little bit on you when we first started. It's probably the extension we have. So tell us what is your favorite quote and why?
Favorite quote. There's just too many of them. Like I'm a quote guy because I think there's a lot of truth in a lot of quotes. And one of the ones that I've had since from when I was in high school, what your mind can conceive and believe, you will achieve. So that's one thing that my high school cross country coach used to always say. He used to always talk about, having a championship and winning attitude. And he used to always say that what your mind can conceive and believe, you will achieve.
That's awesome. I love that quote. Yeah. Favorite book and why?
Man, you know what is, I like the book, The Alchemist. And that was one that I had got introduced through once again, Kent Clothier. I had heard about the book previously, and I literally did not read it. But then when he had mentioned it, something had clicked. You know how sometimes you have to hear a message at least twice?
Oh, yeah.
So I on my way back from San Diego, I bought the book and ended up reading it. And I thought it was just really, really cool about following, your personal journey and not letting anything get in the way of it, not getting sidetracked, but literally seeing your personal journey all the way through. You know, you don't want to live with any regrets. And at the end of the day, like, we were built to be great. And you don't want to play small, you want to play big, and you want to go after everything that you know, you set out for.
I love that, bro. Live by that philosophy. I love it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Lastly, where is the best place for viewers to find you online?
So two places. One place would be on Instagram, and my Instagram handle is the Lawrence Malloy. So that's TheLawrence Malloy, which is Malloy. So the Lawrence Malloy Instagram handle, or you can find me on Facebook. And I would love everyone that's on this call or whatever, on this podcast, to go to Investor Kingdom on Facebook. It's the Investor Kingdom, and be a part of my kingdom. Basically, what I'm doing on that, it's very huge. I'm giving away a ton of free real estate knowledge. It doesn't cost you anything to join. And I'm doing walkthroughs of properties I'm recently buying. I'm talking about some of the rehab projects. We're talking about acquisitions. We're talking about, you know, how to find financing. We're talking about wholesaling, seller finance. Like, literally, like, I'm answering questions that people ask me on there. And it's going to be a great community. Like, literally, we're, you know, creating a community for investors to come and, you know, just get some good information, good education.
That's awesome. And we'll put links to these in the show description as well. So any of his handles and stuff, we'll make sure you guys can connect. Lawrence Malloy, ladies and gentlemen. Lawrence, thanks for coming on, bro.
Dude, I really, really appreciate the opportunity. And I really appreciate all of the headway time that you gave me for this, and all of the
You already know it. You know it, man.
Yeah, man. No, but really, I appreciate you, and best of luck. I know you're doing some big things out there. You're in North Carolina, correct?
We're in South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay.
Sure.
I know you're doing some big things over there, so keep plugging away, and let's connect soon.
Sounds good, my man. We'll see you at the boardroom.
Hey, thank you.
Yep.